This could save your life. 10 hacks to survive in the wilderness. You know, life is full of surprises. Unfortunately, not all of them are pleasant, and some of them can be outright dangerous. A camping trip gone wrong, or a car that's broken down in the middle of nowhere, and you're left stranded in the wilderness to fend for yourself. So, the first rule to follow if you want to survive in the wild is to find a power outlet and Wi-Fi. Just kidding. If only it were that easy. So, counting down from number 10, use spit for fishing. Of course, most wilderness survival tips depend on the area you found yourself trapped in. Most of us don't find ourselves snowed in at McDonald's. However, you'll be able to find a water source almost anywhere, unless you've wound up in the desert. And if you're prepared, water equals food and drink, of course. I know you're probably shouting at the screen right now, "Kinda hard to be prepared when you didn't plan to get stranded far away from civilization." But in any case, knowledge is power. If you see a lake or river, but are on the verge of tears because you don't have any fishing gear, there's no need to regret leaving your bait and pole at home. All you need is the shirt on your back and the saliva in your mouth, and you're good to go. Now, tie the shirt tails and the sleeves together so that you get something resembling a bag. Then walk to the water. Try to be quiet so you don't scare off your potential dinner. Place the top of your shirt right under the surface of the water as you would with a fishing net, and spit. It's an effective way to attract small fish and minnows because they think you're scattering food for them. When they start gathering around in front of you, yank the shirt up and out of the water. You can either cook your prey right then and there, or use it to attract bigger fish and a bigger dinner. Number 9. Making a fishing bobber out of a tampon. This is an absolute must even if you're a dude. These female hygiene products take up little space in your backpack but have so many survival uses. They can provide you with 4 types of material: an airtight wrapper, cotton wadding, a string, and a plastic tube. Yeah, I know guys, they're kinda weird and scary looking, but if you're going on a camping trip, throw some in your bag. Nobody's judging. Now, we're not going to cover exactly how dudes should buy tampons in the store without embarrassment here. That's for a different video. Anyway, the wrapper will make the perfect DIY fishing bobber. Just open it carefully at one end, pull the tampon out, and close the wrapper, leaving a bubble of air inside. You can also add some cotton in there, that way it'll definitely float. Now, don't go throwing away the rest of the contents when you use the wrapper to make a bobber. Don't forget you can stuff the plastic tube with cotton to make a water filter. As for the cotton itself, besides water filtration, it's got some other handy uses. Being absorbent, it can serve as gauze if you accidentally cut yourself. Plus, cotton makes the perfect tinder if you need to start a fire. Number 8. Starting a fire with the help of a condom. I know, I can hear you from here. Start a fire using cotton from a tampon? How can I even light the cotton up if I don't have a lighter or matches? Once again, no need to panic. Unless you're a smoker, you don't carry matches or a lighter with you everywhere you go. But perhaps you've got some condoms lying around? One would be enough. Yes, you're going to want to stay tuned for this. Now, all you need to do is collect some tinder and kindling. Pine needles, bark, dried leaves, cotton from a tampon? Oh, how convenient. Then fill the condom with water from a nearby lake or river, a bottle of water if you have one on you, or even collected rainwater. After that, hold the water-filled condom over the tinder and wait. The sunlight coming through the condom water balloon will gather in one spot, and as soon as this point gets hot enough, you'll see some smoke and then a flame. Who would have thought? Number 7. Pringles, Cheetos, and noodles to start a fire. So let's say you're stranded in a place that has nothing to use for tinder, and you decided not to take our advice about the tampons. Well, surely you brought some chips to snack on. Pringles, Cheetos, and Lay's are a great substitute for dry leaves. The same goes for spaghetti noodles, but they have one more cool use. If a candle wick is too short to reach with a match, light it with a noodle instead. Number 6. Fighting off hypothermia using bubble wrap. Everyone knows the feeling of enjoyment and pure bliss that comes with popping bubble wrap. Not only is it fun, but it's also just so soothing. Ooh. Anyway, if you love this stuff as much as I do, don't forget to pack it next time you go camping. It could just save your life, that's all. The pockets of air in the packaging can act as sort of insulation. Think of it this way. The plastic shield will bounce back your body heat and keep you warm. One study published in 2009 by the Scandinavian Journal of Trauma, Resuscitation, and Emergency Medicine proved that just one layer of bubble wrap was over 70% more effective than 3 cotton blankets. And bubble wrap turns out to be a much better choice in windy and rainy weather. But wait, there's more. This stuff is much more lightweight than cotton bedding. Plus, let's be honest, you'll look pretty funny wrapped up in it. Did you like this tip? Isn't it so simple yet utterly genius? If you want to know how to use other everyday things to your advantage in an extreme situation, watch our next video. Number 5. Making a small raft. Who knows what unexpected circumstances you may find yourself in one day? What if a flood catches you off guard on a camping trip, but your tree climbing skills are zilch? Well, if this is the case, you can make a compact raft to float on until the flood subsides, or at least until you reach a safer place. Collect a bunch of branches, as many as you can, and cover them with a tarp, plastic wrap, or some bubble wrap. Grab whatever you have on hand, and boom! There's your raft that'll keep your head above water. You're welcome. Number 4. Reaching your destination with a flat tire. So, you're driving through the wilderness and suddenly get a flat. Oh yeah, and you've got no spare tire. If this ever happens to you, don't worry. There's a way out even if you're in a deserted place with no other drivers around to ask for help. Just cut several holes on the inside of the burst tire, collect some weeds and grass, and fill your tire with it. Now, you won't be winning any NASCAR races or anything, but at least you'll make it to where you were going. Number 3. Using a nail file as a knife sharpener. The guys out there are probably thinking, sheesh, another chick thing. What can I say? They have useful stuff. Besides, dudes have nails too. If you keep a nail file, or emery board as some call it, in your camping gear, it can serve as a pretty good knife sharpener. Move the sides of the blade along the file for several minutes, and then use your newly sharpened knife in any way you need, cutting off small branches to build a fire, collecting mushrooms, fighting off a grizzly if you're really hardcore. More about that in a moment. Number 2. Starting a fire using a pencil, jumper cables, and a car battery. One of the most important things for survival, and even for some comfort in the wilderness, is to start a fire. I'm sure you got the point by now. I mean, how many of the tips in our list are connected to building a fire? Well, we're not done yet, so here's one more. Attach the cables to the battery of your car as if you're about to give someone a jump. But instead of another car, connect the other ends of the cable to a pencil. The trick here is that the pencil's graphite core conducts electricity, so it'll heat up, and the pencil will burst into flames. All you need to do now is put it on a pile of dry branches with some tampon cotton or some chips. See, it all comes full circle. And number 1. Finding food. It's pretty obvious that food is essential for survival, especially if you're stranded for a long time. In fact, it's common knowledge that a person can go about 3 weeks without food, but it doesn't mean they'll be able to function normally. But there are so many edible things in the wilderness, such as pine nuts, acorns, wild onions, sweet potatoes, dandelion leaves, all sorts of berries, and the list just goes on and on. If you're not a wilderness survival expert, and most of us aren't, and you're not sure which plants are safe to eat, observe animals. You can follow them around and eat what they eat. You could even be like, "Hey, Bambi, want to split that?" No? Okay, cool. Another way is to test the plant by putting a tiny piece of it on your lip and leaving it there for some time. If it's edible, you won't have any reaction. Don't even think about touching the plants with a discolored or milky sap, thorns, fine hairs, or a bitter taste. Also, steer clear of the ones with leaves that grow in threes. They're most likely poisonous. Now, one final tip concerning bears. If you and your party come up on a grizzly bear, surprising it, and the bear begins to chase you, then run away. The important thing here is, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the guy next to you. Do you know any other tips that can help you survive in an emergency situation? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time on The Bright Side.